Hey everyone, Final Community. Thanks for dropping back in to Tony's LPs are us. Today, I just have a simple question to MoFi Music Direct. When can we expect the Bitches Brew, Miles Davis's classic Bitches Brew, One Step? It's been on pre-order since December of 21, and that's when I ordered it, and some friends ordered it. So that's 16 months. I contacted them, MoFi, you know, Music Direct in Chicago about 6 months ago, asking them about the Elvis release, Elvis from Memphis, One Step, the ones I was most interested in, and the Miles Davis Bitches Brew, which I'm definitely interested in. And they didn't know, they didn't have any definitive answers back then, so that was cool. So just about, I guess about a week ago, we find that Elvis from Memphis is being shipped. Elvis in Memphis is being shipped to One Step. So I had some friends over listening to music the other day. We played a wide variety of records, audiophile records, OG records. We had the new MoFi Warren Zevon, which is fantastic. My friend Don brought that over, which is fantastic. And so anyway, we're talking and we're saying, what's being released, what's coming out, and we all to when is Bitches Brew coming out. So I go and find my one copy of Bitches Brew that I have, which is a digital remaster from Columbia Works, which is very good. It's the only Bitches Brew I have. And here you see the artwork by Matei Clairween, a Frenchman of German origin, actually, who used this technique. It was a special technique called Klitschen tech, which means mixed technique of his painting. So it has a realistic and it has a gleam to it, like a shine to these paintings. And if this looks familiar, it's because it was also the artist who did the cover art for Santana's Abraxas that came out in September of 1970. This record came out March 31st of 1970. It was recorded in August 19th to the 21st, 69. Hard to believe, only a few days they recorded this universally monumental journey into time and space in 2 days in 1969 in New York City. The producer, Teo Mako, who actually produced it and actually put together a lot of the tracks from the ensemble that Miles created. And so I'm going off track, but I'm going to talk about the record because after everyone left, I pulled the record out, but we didn't listen to it. After everyone left, I put this album on, and I listened to it, maybe once every year, but it's still my favorite Miles Davis record. And as a chaser, for some strange reason, whenever I listen to this record, I have to go pull either my 45 of Penny Lane or my 45 from the master recordings that's in the box set, and it's in sold separately of the single Penny Lane, because the horn, the piccolo trumpet in Penny Lane just reminds me of this record. So as a chaser, I'll go back and listen to Penny Lane. Now I'm sure Paul listened to Miles Davis his whole life up to the point of the when they did the Sergeant Pepper, and they did previous before Sergeant Pepper released, they released Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields Forever, so you get that trumpet. And I'm sure Miles dug the Beatles. I'm sure he dug the Beatles. So, and 3 years later, he comes out with this. But it's funny that for me, I go back and I listen to Penny Lane, and if you listen to Bitches Brew in its entirety, it's just a journey. Actually, it's a novel, and Miles indicated in an interview that he conceived it as, let me just see here what I wrote. Miles conceived Bitches Brew as a novel without words, a journey without words. And he also went on to say, let's see here, I can find it. A novel without words and an incredible journey of pain, joy, sorrow, hate, passion, and love. And it's hard to put what you get when you hear that record into words. Even when it was released, it wasn't critically acclaimed initially. And Donald Fagen from Steely Dan, who's a big jazz aficionado, didn't like it. I'm not sure if he changed his tune as many others did from 1970 to later years, but he didn't like it. But it was Miles's first first gold record. And in 71, it received a Grammy Award for Best Large Ensemble Jazz Album. So it has a Grammy Award attached to it, which I didn't know until I started researching this record. But I love this record. Miles' conception of it was just chaotic, but harmonious. What he did was he had the musicians, which was an all-star cast. It's a who's who of jazz musicians on this record, which I'll read from the liner notes. But he had them placed in a semicircle, and as he's going through his trumpet, he would point to various positions, and he would orchestrate them from the semicircle, changing tempo, changing mood, and he's let these musicians play their own thing. This record can never be duplicated. There's a box set out, I believe, that shipped gold, a 4-record box set of probably the unreleased raw footage of this record. And that would be, for a jazz musician or a jazz aficionado, which I am not. I'm not an expert on jazz. I just love Miles. It would be fascinating to hear that. But that record actually, 4-record set, I believe, or 4 CD set, shipped gold. And I'll just go over. Here's the digital release. Now, this is from analog tape. This is Columbia did a number of classic jazz records when they did this record. And this is, let me see here, just so if anyone wants to look it up. This is actually 40577 Miles Davis Bitches Brew. And it is, I believe, J20 40577. But here's the lineup of musicians. Personnel: Miles Davis, trumpet; Wayne Shorter; Lenny White, drums; Bernie Maupin, bass, clarinet; Chick Corea, electric piano; Jim Riley, percussion; Jack Jonette, drums; Harvey Brooks, Fender bass; Charles Atlas, drums; Dave Holland, bass; John McLaughlin, who's tremendous on this record, is electric guitar; Joe Zambanu, also from Weather Report as well, is electric piano; Larry Young is also electric piano. And I also read that uncredited was the great Cobham. So Cobham's also the drummer on some of these tracks. And here's the great liner notes, Jackie Gleason, which are worth the price of admission. I love his liner notes. And he has a great line here about someone who said to him, someone who asked, they were going to ask Tio Macaro, the producer, they were going to ask him, I started to ask, I don't know if this is Jackie Gleason talking, but it's irrelevant. I started to ask Tio how the horn echo was made, and then I thought, how silly, what difference does it make? It doesn't make any difference what kind of brush Picasso uses, and if the art makes it, we don't need to know it, and if the art doesn't make it, knowing is the most useless thing in life, okay? So that's it. Like, we don't ask Picasso, we don't ask Rembrandt what brushes did they use, but we'll ask a musician, how did you get that sound? How did you get this? Because actually music is so much more accessible to us today, and it's tangible where we could actually, musicians can actually try to emulate those sounds through through the technology and things. But this is such a great record. It's journey, and every time I listen to it, I'm thinking, man, I'll never understand it. I'll never know what it is unless you actually can talk to Miles, which we can't do right now. So I'm just asking MoFi, when can we expect this record? Because this is a record that is on everyone's radar. You know, I love James Taylor. I love Alan Parsons, Paul Simon, but in the realm of things, Bitches Brew needs to be out. If these are out and Elvis is coming out, Bitches Brew needs to come out. Okay, like we're just waiting for this breath of air to be pushed into this record to hear it at its typically at its best. It's going to be a 33 1/3 double one step. It won't be a 45. The original catalog I have here from 2022 from Music Direct indicates that it's a 45. Later on, Michael Fermer had a pre-order segment on MoFi's pre-releases, and he indicated that it would be a 33 1/3. Now, what the recording process is, if you don't know, or the transfer process, is going to be from the original master tape to a DST digital file to an analog lathe. So that'll be the process. That's MoFi's standard now, and they still sound great. You know, I'm not sending my MoFi's back because I found out that they're not all analog. We thought they were all analog, but it's just not practical anymore with some of these tapes that are, you know, over 60, 50, 60 years old. So that's my question. How do you feel about this? I'm sure a lot of you guys out there, a lot of you gals out there ordered these records a year and a half ago, like I did, for 16 months or whatever, like I did. Getting back to my original story about the artist, Mate, here's the Abraxas record that he also painted, the cover art, and there's a sensor on here from Time Magazine. This is a rare original Abraxas with a sensor on it, and sticking with eBay's censor rules, we'll keep this here. Here's the back, beautiful, and it opens up to a nice gatefold there. So apparently Santana saw this photographed in a magazine and contacted the artist, and it was later issued as a record cover. On the credits, it just says Mate. It doesn't have his full name, which is Clearwine. So, and getting back again to the trumpet, like I said, after I listen to this record, I usually go back and pull a copy of Penny Lane. And Penny Lane, of course, is the trumpet from David Mason, who played that piccolo trumpet and hit that note that Paul wanted to hit at the end of that track. Just as a footnote, that trumpet sold at Sotheby's auction in August of '87 for almost $11,000. The single was released in the U.S. on February 13th, '67, and in the UK, I believe, on the 11th of February, around there. And what's funny is they could have just waited the next day for Valentine's Day. It would have been a nice Valentine's Day present. It was also the first time a Beatle record had a sleeve, I believe, a pop sleeve. I'm not sure, but I did see that. It was a double A 45. You know, Paul was the Penny Lane, John was the Strawberry Fields, and they collaborated as they did, and hope. Too bad they can't do it anymore, but as they did up until the demise of the Beatles. So that's my segment for today. And I just can't really describe the feelings I get when I listen to Bitches Brew. So I wanted to listen to Bitches Brew at the best it possibly can be. Right now, this is what I have. I don't have a all analog copy of this. I have it on CD, but this is a great transfer. And that artwork, the artwork in itself is inherent to the record, where you're getting sexuality, you're getting nature, you're getting humanity, you're getting the elements, you're getting diversity. And through all this, what would seem like calm and chaos, we get harmony. And I think Miles was trying to put that together, and I think he achieved it. Because when you listen to Bitches Brew, you have to listen to it in one setting, and you can't listen to it and read a magazine and listen to it and cook a stew or cook an omelet or chat with your other half, or to your parakeet, or read the liner. You listen to this record, critical listening. You sit yourself in the center, and even if you can't do that with headphones on, because with headphones on, it's going to blow your mind, because it's psychedelia and jazz before there was a jazz fusion. And as we could see from the lineup, a lot of those cats ended up forming Weather Report. So, and it's funny. Billy Cobham's also on it, which is cool. And I'm going to try to listen to it with headphones and try to determine if I could pick out Billy Cobham's has Billy Cobham's snare and drums in there. So I got my man Elvis here. He's digging it. Elvis loves Miles Davis. Miles Davis was always hip. And I'm sure here, I'm just looking through my notes to see if I have anything else I forgot, because I don't have a producer. I told you about the Grammy. Donald Fagen didn't like it at first. Again, just to reiterate, it's mastered from the 1/4 inch, 15 inches per second analog master, to DSD 64. Probably didn't say that. To analog console, to lathe, pressed at, I didn't say pressed at RTI. And the original was released 3/30/70. So we're going to get it now. Hopefully it'll be the definitive copy. And I'm sure, I know how this works. I'm sure MoFi will put out a 4-volume, 45 RPM after this sells out. So just as UHR put out Kind of Blue 33, and then they put out the Kind of Blue 45. And if you check my older videos, you'll see how I ruined my UHQR Kind of Blue one day by flipping it over onto the table and out onto on the floor, and hit a cabinet and put a gash in it. So I tell my story there. But I want to thank everyone for bearing with me. Like I said, I'm not a jazz aficionado by all means, but I just want to put it out there. When can we expect the Bitches Brew one step? And like I said, I called MoFi today and Music Direct today, and they were very nice. They're always very cool, but no expectation. They didn't even say it's going to be released in 6 months. They did not know. And it's kind of weird, because stuff's being released willy-nilly, as they say. But this record, which is what a lot of my friends want, a lot of people I listen to online want, they want Bitches Brew. Okay, they want where's my MTV? Where's my Bitches Brew? So we want to get that out there. So what do you think about it? And leave a comment. Please support the channel. We're doing pretty good. I love talking to you guys. I love sharing my collection. I still have to finish up on my Hendrix collection videos. And I want to thank everyone who did subscribe, and everyone who likes. And I'm just really happy. So stay safe and keep rocking. And don't forget Record Store Day this Saturday. We'll be filming some live segments on Record Store Day, and I'll show you what I get. I have to go through my list, but I have a small list. But I know once I get there, I'll probably pick up things. When you see them in person, you have to get them. And I love going to Record Store Day with my friends. We get there early, so it'll be dark when I'm taping. So keep rocking, and thanks a lot. Like I said, I appreciate everybody watching. Cheers.